What if the very air you breathe in the heart of Africa carries the echoes of ancient incantations, whispered through countless generations, long before the modern world dared to encroach upon its primal mysteries? Imagine that beneath the dense canopy of the deepest jungles, where sunlight struggles to pierce the emerald gloom, there exist forces, both seen and unseen, that hold dominion over life and death, fortune and despair. Are you ready to hear the raw, untamed tales of a continent where the boundaries between the living and the dead, the human and the beast, are gossamer thin, easily traversed by those who possess ancient knowledge or those who dare to trespass? Welcome to our world, our stories, where we unravel the chilling power of tribal curses, the terrifying majesty of ancient beasts, and the profound, often vengeful presence of the spirits that guard the very soul of the deep jungle. Tonight, we journey into the vibrant, pulsating heart of Africa, a place where magic isn't relegated to forgotten folklore, but actively shapes destinies, inflicts suffering, and demands reverence from all who tread upon its hallowed ground. Feel the humid air clinging to your skin, thick with the scent of damp earth, decaying leaves, and the faint, sweet perfume of night-blooming flowers, mingled with an almost imperceptible, metallic tang, like distant thunder gathering on the horizon. This is a journey into the inexplicable, where every rustle in the undergrowth might be a hidden guardian, and every distant drumbeat a summons to a realm far older than human memory, a realm that whispers of enduring power and untold secrets. Our descent into Africa's heart of shadows begins with the whispers of the sorcerer's bane, unbreakable tribal curses, a chilling exploration of the formidable power wielded by traditional healers and malevolent shamans in countless communities across the continent. Far from the simplistic superstitions often depicted, these curses are intricate tapestries woven from specific herbs, ritualistic objects, potent incantations, and profound spiritual knowledge passed down through generations, often requiring intimate understanding of the victim's life and lineage. Imagine yourself in a small, isolated village nestled deep within the dense equatorial forest, where the only sounds are the incessant chirping of cicadas, the guttural calls of unseen monkeys, and the distant rhythmic pounding of a mortar and pestle, grinding unknown ingredients. The air here is heavy, not just with humidity, but with an almost tangible sense of unspoken rules, of unseen eyes watching from the shadows of ancient trees, and a deep-seated respect, bordering on terror, for the local Nganga, the witch doctor, whose power can bring both healing and unthinkable torment. For these curses are not merely words, they are living entities, sent forth to dismantle a life, a family, or even an entire lineage through a slow, inexorable erosion of luck, health, and sanity, a vengeance that manifests not with a sudden strike, but with a creeping dread that poisons every aspect of existence, leaving its victims with no escape, no solace, and no hope. One of the most harrowing and well-documented accounts of such a curse involves the prosperous chiefdom of the Mbenga people, in a remote region of what is now the Central African Republic in the early 1900s. Chief Okoro, a man of immense pride and burgeoning wealth due to a lucrative ivory trade, had brazenly defied the counsel of the revered elder shaman, Machawi, regarding the division of hunting grounds, disrespecting ancient territorial treaties. Machawi, a figure of profound spiritual authority, whose eyes held the wisdom of 1,000 years, and whose hands were gnarled like ancient roots, warned Okoro that his greed would invite a darkness upon his house, a curse known as Ngozi Yam Kondo, or the curse of the twisted path. The chief, assistant, considered outdated beliefs, merely scoffed. However, Machawi, without uttering another word, merely scattered a handful of black dust, made from crushed ancestral bones and dried viper venom, at the chief's feet, the fine particles carried away by a sudden, unnatural gust of wind that seemed to appear from nowhere, leaving behind a faint, metallic scent like that of fresh blood. The curse began subtly, with the chief's prized hunting dogs mysteriously falling ill, their bodies contorting in grotesque ways, their howls filling the night with a terrifying agony before they died, their eyes glazed over with a chilling, malevolent light, as if something ancient and cruel had looked through them. Then the true horror unfurled. Chief Okoro's eldest son, a strapping warrior named Kito, known for his unwavering strength, began to waste away, his once robust body shrinking, his skin turning a sickly yellow, and his mind slipping into a terrifying delirium where he would scream of unseen serpents coiling around him, their venomous fangs piercing his flesh. No local healer or traditional medicine could touch his ailment. He succumbed, his final breath a whisper of profound despair, his eyes wide with a terror that suggested he saw beyond the veil of the living. Within weeks, his favorite wife suffered a miscarriage, her vitality draining with her lost child, and the village's crops inexplicably withered, turning black and brittle as if struck by a lightning bolt from a cloudless sky, their leaves shriveling into a parody of their former lushness. The chief's ivory trade, once so profitable, collapsed overnight as supply lines became plagued by bizarre accidents, canoes capsizing in calm waters, crucial pathways inexplicably overgrown with thorn bushes, and the mysterious disappearance of vital equipment. The once prosperous village slowly became a ghost of its former self, its people starving, its laughter replaced by somber silence, and its once vibrant spirit crushed under the weight of an invisible burden, a slow-acting poison that seeped into every crack of their existence. Chief Okoro, a broken man, eventually confessed his hubris to a visiting missionary, his voice thin and raspy, his eyes hollowed with endless nights of terror, recounting the chilling precision of Machawi's vengeance, how every prosperity had been systematically twisted into ruin, every joy into sorrow, and how he lived under the constant, suffocating knowledge that the invisible hand of the curse continued to squeeze the life out of everything he held dear. The missionary, shaken by the chief's profound despair and the palpable aura of misfortune that clung to the village, noted in his diary that he had never witnessed such a complete and utter destruction, not by war or famine, but by an unseen force, a testament to the terrifying potency of the tribal curses that ripple through the heart of Africa, a chilling reminder that some spiritual debts can never be repaid, and some grievances never truly forgotten. If the spectral weight of ancient curses sent a shiver down your spine, what will you say about the physical, flesh and blood terrors that lurk in the unexplored corners of the continent, creatures whose very existence defies modern science, yet are etched into the deepest fears and most primal legends of indigenous peoples? But if you think the wonders end there, listen closely as we journey from the subtle horror of spiritual affliction to the colossal, terrifying reality of giants in the green abyss, Africa's primeval beasts, focusing on the persistent, spine-chilling accounts of ancient reptilian behemoths said to inhabit the deepest, least disturbed swamps and rivers of the Congo Basin. The Mokelembembe, as it is known to the local pygmy tribes, is not merely a myth, but a living, breathing enigma, described as a creature of immense size, with a long neck, a small head, and a powerful body, often compared to the long-necked dinosaurs of the Mesozoic era. Imagine yourself navigating a dugout canoe through an endless labyrinth of murky waterways, where the air is thick with the buzzing of unseen insects and the guttural croaking of frogs, and the silence is broken only by the drip of water from the dense foliage overhead and the occasional splash of an unseen creature. The trees here are so ancient and so tightly woven that only slivers of sunlight penetrate the canopy, leaving the water below in perpetual twilight, a perfect hiding place for something vast and profoundly old, a remnant of a time when giants truly walked the earth, their thundering steps now replaced by the silent, powerful displacement of water. The stories of the Mokelembembe are not isolated incidents. They are deeply ingrained in the oral traditions of numerous tribes across the Congo, with specific descriptions, behaviors, and even warnings passed down through countless generations. Locals speak of its diet, primarily vegetation, though it is fiercely territorial, and will attack hippopotamuses and even elephants that invade its domain. They describe the distinctive, powerful wake it leaves as it moves through the water, sometimes capsizing canoes, and the resonant, trumpet-like roar that can shake the very foundations of the jungle, a sound so primal it evokes an instinctive, bone-deep fear. One particularly vivid account comes from a French explorer, Lieutenant Alfred Aloysius Horn, who, in the early 20th century, wrote of his encounter with what he believed was a Mokelembembe. While on a hunting expedition deep within the Likuala swamps, his team heard an unnatural, thunderous splash in the distance, followed by a series of deep, guttural bellows that vibrated through the dense jungle undergrowth, causing the leaves to tremble. Horn and his guides, experienced hunters, initially mistook the sounds for a herd of rogue elephants, but the patterns of disturbance in the water and the sheer scale of the displaced vegetation pointed to something far larger, far more ancient, something that moved with an unnatural grace for its immense size. As they cautiously approached the area, guided by the sound of snapping branches and the pervasive smell of stagnant water mixed with an inexplicable, earthy musk, they found a clearing where the vegetation had been flattened, as if a colossal, unseen roller had passed through. There, embedded in the soft, muddy bank of a wide, sluggish river, were 3-toed footprints, each one the size of a dinner plate, pressed so deep into the earth that they were slowly filling with murky water. Horn, a seasoned naturalist, knew these were unlike any footprints left by known African fauna. His local guides, however, did not need scientific analysis. Their faces were ashen with profound dread, their eyes wide with unspoken fear, and they whispered the name Mokelembembe with a reverence that spoke volumes of its terrifying reality. They described how such creatures had sometimes emerged from the deepest pools to forage on the banks, their colossal bodies shimmering with scales, their long necks rising above the tree line, surveying their primeval domain with ancient, unblinking eyes. They spoke of fellow tribesmen whose canoes had been swamped by the creature's immense bulk, their bodies never recovered, swallowed by the dark depths, leaving only the chilling testimony of those who managed to swim ashore, trembling with a terror that would haunt them for the rest of their days, forever etched with the image of a titanic shadow. Moving beneath the surface, Horn, though a man of science, was so profoundly affected by the palpable sense of an ancient colossal presence that he cut short his expedition, leaving the region with a newfound respect for the depths of the jungle's secrets and the terrifying possibility that prehistoric beasts still roam undisturbed, silent, powerful vestiges of a forgotten epoch, guardians of a green abyss that science has yet to fully penetrate, forever reminding us that some mysteries are better left undisturbed, slumbering in the heart of Africa's untamed wilderness. Let us now journey deeper still, beyond the lurking physical giants and the insidious whispers of curses, to a realm where the very air is thick with the presence of ancestral energies and primordial forces, a realm overseen by entities whose forms are mutable and whose intentions are often inscrutable. We venture into the sacred grove's breath, spirits of the deep jungle, an exploration of the myriad nature spirits and ancestral guardians that are believed to inhabit every tree, every rock, every river, and every shadow within Africa's vast, pulsating rainforests. These are not merely abstract concepts. To the indigenous communities, these spirits, often known as Orishas in West Africa, Loa in parts of Central Africa, or simply as ancestors and nature guardians, are living, interactive forces that demand respect, offerings, and strict adherence to ancient taboos. Imagine standing in an ancient, untouched grove where the colossal buttress roots of trees rise like the walls of a forgotten cathedral, and the air is alive with the hum of unseen life, yet carries an inexplicable stillness, a palpable sense of reverence. The light filters through the dense canopy in shifting patterns of emerald and gold, illuminating patches of vibrant moss and intricate fungi, and the scent of damp earth, decaying leaves, and rich, fecund life fills your lungs, mingled with the faint, sweet perfume of unseen jungle orchids. You feel a profound sense of being watched, not with malice, but with an ancient, calculating gaze that seems to assess your intentions, reminding you that you are a visitor in a realm where human dominion is merely an illusion. The lore surrounding these spirits is vast and complex, often dictating every aspect of tribal life, from hunting practices to marriage customs. To appease them means prosperity, good health, and abundant harvests. To anger them through disrespect or violation of sacred spaces invites profound misfortune, illness, or even death, not just for the individual, but for the entire community. Consider the chilling tale of the Esu, trickster spirits often associated with crossroads, chaos, and communication between realms, whose unpredictable nature demands constant vigilance and respect. Or the more benevolent, yet fiercely protective spirits of the water, known as Mamiwata in various forms, who can bestow wealth or drag the disrespectful to watery graves. One particularly powerful and often recounted story involves the spirits of the sacred Iroko trees, colossal giants of the forest, revered as living ancestors or homes to powerful deities, particularly in West African traditions. It is said that to cut down an Iroko tree without proper ritual, without appeasing the spirit within, is to invite an irreversible curse of misfortune upon one's lineage. There is a deeply disturbing account from the 1960s concerning a logging company, largely run by outsiders, that was attempting to clear a vast tract of old-growth forest for timber, deep in what is now Nigeria. Despite warnings from local chiefs and the terrified pleas of their African workers, the foreign supervisors, scoffing at what they considered primitive superstitions, insisted on felling a particularly ancient and imposing Iroko tree, one that locals had warned was the dwelling place of a powerful ancestor spirit, a guardian of the forest. The sounds of the chainsaws that morning were said to be deafening, tearing through the pristine quiet of the jungle, a discordant shriek against the ancient symphony of nature. As the massive tree began to groan and slowly lean, its colossal trunk tearing from the earth with a sound like 1,000 lamentations, the local workers, even those paid handsomely, turned away, covering their faces in horror, convinced they had just witnessed an act of profound sacrilege. The supervising foreman, a burly man named Mr. Peterson, laughed, gloating about the timber, but his triumph was short-lived. That very afternoon, the massive logging truck carrying the Iroquois trunk inexplicably veered off a perfectly straight, well-maintained forest road, plunging into a deep ravine, killing Mr. Peterson and his entire crew instantly. Subsequent attempts to retrieve the timber were met with bizarre and escalating misfortunes. Machinery malfunctioned catastrophically, engineers suffered inexplicable, debilitating illnesses, and even the company's distant headquarters began to experience a cascade of financial woes, leading to bankruptcy within months. The local communities, however, knew the true reason. They spoke of the ancestral spirit of the Iroquois, angered by the desecration, rising from its shattered earthly vessel, not in a visible form, but as an unseen force, a pervasive current of ill luck that attached itself to all who profited from its destruction, slowly but surely dismantling their lives and endeavors. Even decades later, the families of those involved in the logging project, particularly the foreign families, reported lingering, unexplained misfortunes, persistent illnesses, sudden bankruptcies, and a chilling series of accidents that seemed to follow them across continents, as if the wrath of the forest spirit, once unleashed, could not be contained by mere physical distance. The sacred grove, though silent once more, continues to breathe, its ancient trees and hidden streams forever charged with the presence of these powerful, often vengeful spirits, who stand as vigilant wardens of Africa's deep jungle, reminding all who dare to enter that the true heart of this magnificent continent beats not with human ambition, but with the ancient, untamed power of its spirits, forever blurring the lines between myth and a terrifying, undeniable reality. Have you ever felt the cold touch of an unseen presence, or the weight of a gaze from beyond the visible world? Perhaps now you will feel it in every rustle of the leaves, in every distant, inexplicable sound, as the heart of Africa continues to whisper its timeless, potent secrets.